Welcome to Bonita's Intensity Program webinar. Today we're speaking with Sister Talia on food poisoning in children. Welcome, Sister Talia.
Hi, everyone. Yes, today we'll be speaking about food poisoning, among other things, as well as actual poisoning with different household products. The reason this was prompted, it's summer, it's getting warmer, and all the creepy crawlies are out. We're using various poisons that sometimes get ingested in various forms by little ones. We've had calls with kids as young as 6 months old, and also with summer season, temperatures go up, and we know that food poisoning is also rife in this time. So first we will look at food poisoning. So what is food poisoning? So food poisoning is caused by bacteria and sometimes viruses and germs. So we know that viruses and germs they love moisture, and they love to thrive in these conditions. So as the temperatures go up, we're using foods. I can mention a few food names, but I think we all know there is regular culprit. We're using surfaces, that's been laying all day. It's been quite hot in the house. We're using utensils as well. And then also what we drink, even our water supply needs to be checked at this time of the year. So what I usually tell moms, even though they're tiny, they can really have a powerful effect on the body. Remember, with food poisoning, you can't smell it, you can't taste it, you can't see these germs. They're only visible with a microscope. So oftentimes it's things that actually seem like it wasn't off when you took it out of the fridge. It seemed like it was still good to go and eat. And even fresh things you buy at the shop, you think it's fresh, but it may have been contaminated. So food poisoning doesn't just occur on food that's old or expiry date food. It actually can occur with fresh food and fruit foods as well, and things that's been touched that has been contaminated. So first, what is food poisoning? It goes into the system and it releases toxins. These toxins are poisons, and it really can make you ill. It can cause you to have vomiting, diarrhea. It can cause you to have severe abdominal cramps. And you can think what a nightmare this must be on a little body. Usually, doctors say food poisoning is an illness that comes and goes quite quickly. It does in some cases, it can be quite fatal if not treated correctly. And people can get very, very sick. We've had a lot of reports recently over the last few years in the news of certain foods being contaminated. So I think it's a good thing to be equipped as moms to know what to do, and even pregnant moms, to actually know how to protect yourself and to treat and when to go to the doctor. So the good news is food poisoning actually goes away quite quickly. Although the it's so severe, it feels like it's never going to go away. It does. And with the diarrhea and throwing up, it usually is only a few hours. So you call it the 24-hour bug. It literally sometimes lasts only that long, and then it's done. But for that 24 hours, you can feel very, very sick due to that toxins that's released. So what are the signs and symptoms of food poisoning? I always tell people food poisoning shows up depends on the germ that caused it. So we're going to be investigators of germs today. So sometimes it might start to feel sick within an hour. Other times it may be 2-3 hours after eating contaminated food or liquid. Other times the symptoms may not appear for a number of weeks. And that is then the germs. That is the ones we're very scared of, because it can start even 10 days later. And then we know it's a different type of thing we're looking at, which actually needs a different treatment. So signs that your child may have food poisoning would be nausea, belly pain and cramps, vomiting, diarrhea, fever above 37.5 degrees, and headache. Headache is a big, big sign. It's sometimes the first sign, even before the first cramp appears in kids. They will just say, "My head is very sore. I don't feel like playing, mommy," and they will just lay, or a little one will just hold their head quite a lot. And when people eat and drink, that's contaminated with germs. They can get sick with food poisoning. Other people get food poisoning from animal-based foods like meat, poultry, dairy products, seafood being a bit off. Temperature is a big factor in that. unwashed fruits. We know that they use manure for most fruits and vegetables to grow. So it's very important to wash it, especially pregnant mommies, little kids, fruit and vegetables. Should actually everybody in the household things should be rinsed before we ingest any foods, and fruit and vegetables especially. And because these contaminations can make you quite sick. And I know in the past, old people used to say, I've lived for so many years not getting sick. But the day you actually get this food poisoning, you will not want it again. The cramping is quite severe and it's very sore. So we'll look at different points during food preparation, storage, handling, for example. So for instance, foods that are not heated or thawed correctly. So thawed means actually defrosting. So in my household as well, I have to watch them quite often with the defrosting in summer. So they'll take out some Viennas, for instance. Kids love Viennas. So the one brother will take out a Vienna and then he'll pop it back in the freezer. So he's now actually defrosted that whole bag of 12 Viennas, or I think it's 6 or 12, it depends what's in the bag. He used 2 of it maybe. He put it back in the freezer. So now it's actually come down to the temperature that we now are going to consume it. But now we put that temperature, and we don't know how long it's been standing out, because we know husbands, kids, people don't always just go and pop it back in the fridge. It could have been standing on the counter for quite a number of hours. Now he just pops it in the freezer. The next one comes. He now wants also to make himself a Vienna or hot dog. He takes it out, he takes one out. Again, we don't know how long it's been standing. What's the process of thawing? Did he pop it in the microwave? They already fully almost cooked. So remember the heat. They love that heat. It's been standing in the heat on the counter, and now it gets thrown back in the freezer. Third one comes, hubby comes. He now wants to make himself a hot dog as well, or eggs and Viennas. And you see how simple it is. And in that process, the chain has frozen, it's warmed, frozen again, warmed again. So all the time they've been changing that temperature of that Viennas. Till at the end of the day, different germs will grow. So Listeria is the germ, it's the one that was quite responsible for a lot of people getting very ill with polonies and Viennas and things. And it usually can happen in dairy products, smoked, like smoked Viennas, seafood, produce meats like hot dog, lunch meats. And Listeria can also contaminate fruits and vegetables, but it has a lot to do also with temperature control with them. What happens is that the rule of thumb is, if you do defrost anything, if you thaw anything, such as seafood, such as things like that, it needs to be finished up. Okay, if we're going to cool it down, we need to make sure that it cools down completely, and we put it then in the fridge, and we eat it within that same day. You cannot re-defrost it or put it in the freezer again and then defrost it, because you will get ill from that. And depends how hot the day is. It may never cool down on the counter because it's quite a hot day. Then I would say consume it or just pop it in the fridge to be the safest. Contamination. We think COVID times are gone, but this is still the main source of everything. I have moms that's pedantic about cleaning products, but then the main source, and it's not even their hands, it's little ones. Like I said, now they get a bit older, they know how to pop things out of the fridge, and they just put it back in again with that same dirty hands. Workstations, very important. So if we mix anything, remember, this is where poisoning comes in of household products. We're using Jig, for instance, to clean surfaces, our chlorine-based things, are hand sanitizer, and then we get surface sanitizers. So whatever brand you use, we're not promoting any brand specific here, but whatever product you use, make sure you don't overuse, like use too much of it to sanitize, because you can actually get poisoning of inhalation. You can put it too much on the surfaces that can go in the eyes. Kids can touch it and go in the eyes. And it can actually be harmful respiratory as well. And we forget that. So please use only a cup full if you're going to mix it with your dishing water that you're going to do your dishes with. And if you're going to use that water to kind of use your little cloth and wipe your surfaces with, make sure that water is clean. You're first wiping your surfaces before you're going to do now washing up washing up of chicken-based things, very soiled things, like you can see the blood on that kind of board that you've been cutting on, you've cut the vegetables, you need to rinse it off. You won't use that same water to wipe your surfaces. It sounds very simple, but I know sometimes getting busy in the kitchen and getting busy with everything, these are things that can slip our grasp, and then we end up having a very sick family a few days later. So very important. I've seen these little handy tricks and things with these cutting boards, 5 in 1. So there's one mock fish, there's one mock chicken, there's one mock meat. And that's actually a very good way to do it, because you will then subconsciously know, listen, I've made chicken on this board. I must remember to give it a good wipe with a disinfectant, whatever product you use. And this has been meat, I must remember. So it also separates that, because we found oftentimes we use one little board, a cutting board, and then on that cutting board we do chicken, fish, everything else, and that is where it all grows. So what are some of the germ names? So Salmonella bacteria, chicken, that's the most common one. That's the one we often find in summer, like they love summer. And then we got E. coli. It usually gets into food or water. That is, E. coli is basically the feces of animals. So you can think, manure they use for vegetable gardens, for fruits. It does get in our food. So we have to rinse it off, we have to be responsible patrons of the environment. Rinse it off with good, clean water. I know people are using little fizz balls of disinfectant and all that. I don't know the effect of the body long term having that type of things in your body, but I know good clean water, it should do the trick. And then Listeria, like I mentioned before, again, all these things, hands and surfaces, temperature, those are the 3 things that will prevent these type of infections. So then I have moms asking me, so sister, my baby's got it. I've given something for cramps. I've given something for pain. I've given everything. When do I call my doctor? So if your child is vomiting and it lasts more than 12 hours, it can't go on like that, because you've given things for vomiting, but it's still coming out. It means nothing that child has ingested has actually stayed in the stomach. So you will get dehydrated. Diarrhea with fever that's more than 38 degrees, definitely. Blood in vomit or in feces, and severe belly pain. So some kids get severe cramps, and even some adults. If you're pregnant, let's already start by point 1. If you're having severe abdominal cramps, you need to go see your GP or your gynae or your doctor or your midwife. Because that's already telling you something's up, and we don't want a pregnant mommy to get cramps because it can start contractions. Vomiting that lasts more than 12 hours, definitely. So first check cramps, let's go to the doctor or gynae or midwife. And the same with kids. Kids are a bit more resilient. They vomiting for more than 12 hours, diarrhea, blood in the feces, and severe belly pain. Those are the things that I really do believe you need to go see a pediatrician or your GP immediately. So what is my at-home care? So food poisoning can go away on its own. Like I said, it can go away in a day, it can go a few days, but monitor your child. If your child seems worse, your child seems listless, like really just laying, not being able to take anything in, those are also reasons to then go and seek professional help, okay? So you will give plenty of rest. Their body will be weak because the toxins attack really all of your body. They will even have severe body pain, some kids and people, even pregnant moms and adults. Drink liquids to protect against dehydration. Electrolyte solutions work, like you rehydrate, mix it in a nice big jug. So you make your jug for your baba. And you can even put it in, you see these little bottles I have, but a nice cute pink or blue Superman bottle, and that will encourage that fluids to be drank. If you're going to leave a very boring jug next to a child or even an adult, if you leave it next to me, I won't drink it. But if it's a Spider-Man or Barbie, I'll keep on sipping on it because I also want to keep my favorite bottle in my hand. And if it's a baba, still on a bottle, like before a year old, then definitely the rehydrate you can mix or put in his bottle. Then no milk in that bottle, just to rehydrate for that event. And then you can continue in time with milk again. And then avoid solid foods because it's going to make you vomit it out, or it's going to make your tummy very, very unsettled. Okay. Things like toast, dry things, bland things, things like, for instance, your rice. You may not want to hear this, chicken again after you've had a virus caused by chicken, maybe salmonella bacteria, but really chicken, apple. Grated apple is great for kind of binding that tummy and helping against the diarrhea, and it's refreshing in summer as well. Refrigerate leftovers quickly. Defrost foods in refrigerate or a microwave or cold water. Food should never be stored at room temperature. Okay, so once again, it just goes back to what my word of warning is about poisoning at home. Make sure that you are responsible how you store your food. And another tip of the food poisoning, we are buying big things now. It's December. We're buying meats and things. Make sure that your older meats are marked with the date if you do your month-end shopping, moms. I also had to do this. It takes a couple of minutes extra by unpacking, and I know you're tired by the time you get home, but just make a mark on with the big, keep a Cokie in your kitchen, not near the kids because they will mark everything in their pot, but keep it somewhere high up. You can grab it as you come from the shops and you can mark so that you use your older meats, your older chicken, your older fish in your freezers first before you use the new stock. Because oftentimes that can be even a cause. It's not that only old things make you sick, but you sometimes that things, especially with load shedding now, it goes off and on whole time your refrigerator. So it's been actually towing for a long time now. And some days, some areas get load shedding for up to 4 hours. So make sure that is one thing I can tell you. So I hope you guys are comfortable with the food poisoning. It will pass. It is something that is very uncomfortable. And if one person gets it in a family, often, the whole family can get it together because we ate off one dish. And we all had that piece of chicken together, or etc. So it is something that you can keep in the home. Keep some anti-cramp medication, keep some electrolytes, like your rehydrate. It's little sachets. You can keep it in the cupboard in your home so that when you get it, the last thing you want to do is need to stand in a pharmacy queue. Keep some pain medication for the cramps, like I said, also some fever medication for kids and even for adults, good old-fashioned paracetamol. Those are all things to just keep at hand. So if it does strike, you have your first line of defense with you. And from there, then we check the symptoms if it gets worse. So now we're moving on to poisoning at home. So remember, prevention is key in this. Sometimes the unavoidable does happen, and I know this out of personal experiences. But really, 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 if you can, do an inventory of your house this weekend and check if you can see hidden things and dangers that kids can get hold of. I mentioned earlier to you, for instance, the jig when you're cleaning. But that is all things that needs to be locked away. But we'll go through that also a bit. So let's start with medicines. So if you have maybe a little medicine chest, a little first aid kit, a cupboard that has medicines in the bathroom, it's very important that you store all medicines, prescription and non-prescription, in something that has a safety latch that kids can't get to because they climb. They are master climbers. Spider-Man has nothing on them. And even the little girls, they're like little fairies. They can jump everywhere up. So make sure that you actually have a child-proof latch on there and that it works. Because they do climb. If you have a little box that you keep lower, maybe a lower cabinet, make sure it has a lock on and that lock is secured and closed. It's very distressing when they get hold of something like this, medicines, etc., because The thing that follows is, you blame yourself afterwards. You feel like, oh, if they just didn't get hold of this thing. Just that one time I forgot to close it. But do make it like a mental checklist that if you're using tonight, you may be washing your face and you're using prescribed medication on your face or tablets. Make it a plan and a mental note that you close and lock and get easy locks. Please don't get one with a key that you need to carry around and search for. And I'll always leave it open if I have keys like that because your life is too rushed to be looking for things. But have things that latches quickly. They have such cute things now everywhere online. So look at a bit of things and very affordable things now as well for kiddie locks. Make sure purses and bags, yours and guests, and this I've lived through, are closed. Granny has come to visit, puts her purse down. What do little ones do? They love being Granny stuff because they always got sweeties for them. And my little one has eaten a Rennie. I mean, thank goodness it's just a Rennie. But she's actually, thought it's a sweetie and I just see her chewing and I see this packet in her hand and it's Granny's Rennies. But it could have been any medication, heart medication. I mean, hypertension, high blood pressure tablets. It can be anything they take out. So make sure you put it higher up. If you could get a hook in your home, maybe. So as guests come in, you can just hook it behind there and they know where to get their bags or their jackets even. Because in your jacket pocket, sometimes there is some loose things. Always keep medicine in the original containers to prevent confusion for yourself. I've had it out, we go somewhere and I quickly pop it in a thing and I get there and I'm like, which one is again the Panado? Which one is, and at that time it's dangerous because now you can give the child actually wrong medication. Be aware that all medicines in your home, how many pills you have in things. So for instance, they get hold of your rescue tablets, this little tablet you put under your tongue. Little pot of that has 100 in. Now they did get hold of it, they ingested it, you have to go to the hospital. Then you can say this is how much the child took in. Never prepare or give medicine to a child in the dark. You can give the wrong dosage, the wrong bottle, and you can end up getting a very sick child on your hands. So we're moving on to cleaning products. Again, store higher up in cabinets than lower. They think it's juice. They love the cleaning bottles. It's so colorful. I don't know why, but they always think it's something else. Sometimes they even want to be little mommies and daddies and they want to clean up. So they take it and they sing you, they'll throw the jig around and cleaning areas. So now they like doing it. And like I said, you get chemical burns, you get inhalation of chemicals. It's a lot of things that can happen. For instance, don't put it in soda bottle containers. That's a big thing. They love soda. So if they see some, a lot of people sell these things in soda bottles, the Stay Soft. They see it now in a soda bottle. They're going to think that's Coke in that bottle and they will actually take it and drink it. So keep it in the original bottles, please. And never put roach powders, rat poison on floors of your home. The problem is with that, it looks appeasing for a little one. They can get there. They're on their knees and all fours all the time. Even if they're toddlers, they scout anything on a floor. That's still there. They're still progressing with that stage because it's teaching them their mobility. So now they see something, they're going to put it in their mouth, little mothballs. Always behind your stove if you really need to use it, behind your fridge, and not a fridge where they can actually walk on the sides and get in and grab it if they need to. It really must be invisible to the eye. They have now really good gels that you can actually put at the bottom of your fridges, at the bottom of your stoves. So the roaches eat it, they go to their nest and they kill their whole family in that nest by everybody eating what they've eaten now. So that's more effective than this whole tin of sprays. That's another thing. We hear of these things happening. There was another incident where a lady actually uses household chemical spray for roaches. And, she ended up almost like herself getting very sick from ingesting all of that. So that's very, very important. Kids also don't teach them to spray a spider dead because it can also go in their eyes. If they try and do it and you're not around, they see that spider, they imitate everything they see. So please make sure, even dishwasher supplies, that's a big thing. That little tablet that the dishwasher uses looks so yummy. I think if I was a kid, I would have thought it's a marble that you can eat or something, or jelly or something. So keep it away, please. Those pods are very dangerous. It actually burns the inside of the tummy. And antifreeze, I mean, that's fatal things. Windshield washer fluid, gardening products, fertilizer, repellent. Make sure even in your garage you do that. Get a big, huge counter and place it then on there, very, very high up. And you must make sure that door remains locked off the garage. Often kids plays in the garage and they find things to climb on there. They are really, really more dexterous than we think in moving around. So hand sanitizer is important, and then perfume and cologne. I actually had a child recently drink the mom's perfume. And you would think they go like this and they like, it tastes horrible, but you don't know how much has gone in, and it does burn their throat, burns the inside of their stomach. It causes them to get quite sleepy. And we know the high volume of alcohol in that stuff, and it's not alcohol that's actually supposed to be ingested, so it can make you very, very sick. Hand sanitizer, we've had it everywhere around. Even at the shops that you see them spraying the little hands where it has this little thing. I always watch because I can see with the little ones, it's at their level. So if they spray, they will spray their eyes and the poison can get into their system. So cosmetics is another thing. Keep it away from children, like your perfume, hair dye, hairspray, nail polish. You will never know how they love drinking nail polish, shoe polish, nail polish remover. Yeah, it seems like your whole house is a war zone, eh? But just make sure you are conscious where you put these things. And if you have extras, if you love stockpiling and buying more than needed, put it away in a lock cupboard. As simple as that. Throw away old batteries, please. As a midwife and as a nurse, I've seen in pediatric ward a lot of kids admitted with batteries. Little small flat batteries, they put it in their nose. It burns this whole passage because of the acid in there. They swallow it, it burns their throat, their stomach inside. It's very, very dangerous. Something as simple as that. So if it's not in a remote, if it's in a remote, you close your remote. You close it, and you make sure it remains closed, because they will take it out if it's an open remote and use it. If you're using it, there's that spare little box of batteries that's always one of each, old one and a new one. Put it high up, put it somewhere that's locked and closed that they can't get hold of, because if they do, kids love, I don't know why, but they love putting batteries in their mouth. So be prepared. So if this should happen, like with my rainy day, that's one of my many stories. I've actually had a few, because they are very quick. They are quick to notice things that they can put in their mouths. Childproof your home. You can get a professional out. Go on your hands and knees and actually see it from a child's view. What is dangerous? As an adult, standing like this and looking at the room, and we don't actually notice what can be dangerous, but from a child's view, it's very important. Learn CPR and appropriate Heimlich maneuver to get that thing out, like a mothball goes in. It's not just bad for her now, it's stuck also. So Heimlich maneuver, how to get it out, and keep these numbers near the phone for yourself and for caregivers. First of all, your child's doctor's number, parents' work and cell phone numbers, neighbors or nearby relatives' number. If you need someone to watch the other kids in case you need to run to the emergency room, because remember, we need to work with this in a quick timing. And then I also put on the poison information helpline. It's 0861 555 777. Okay, and any administrative questions for the poison information, it will be at poisoninformation@uct.ac.za, and they are specialized in poisoning. They will tell you exactly what to do, and also what not to do when your child gets hold of poison. So those are just things. You can even screenshot this, print it out, put it on your fridge, put a little paper in your wallet, because it can happen anytime they do these things. So if you find your child near empty container of toxic substance or a bottle, say now, of Stay Soft nearby that your child may have drank, stay calm and act quickly. Get the poison first away from your child, but take note of what the poison was. If the substance is still in the child's mouth, make him spit it out or remove it with your finger. So a light sweep. You're not going to gorge your finger down his throat. You're just going to sweep the inside of his mouth. We say it's a sweep, and then we take out what there is. Keep it as evidence for what he has swallowed. So you immediately, if you sweep it out, you put it in a little plastic, you take a face cloth and just wipe the mouth and the inside of the mouth. Don't make a child vomit, because it makes that poison go quicker through his bloodstream, okay? So oftentimes mom will have this, put the finger in, make the child vomit, and immediately it goes into that stomach, it goes quicker, all that juices work together to just get that poison in the body quicker. And follow the instructions on packaging on poisonings. These are often outdated. So if you have a poisoning on the back of the packets, it will say sometimes make the child vomit, give the child tons of water to drink, do all these things. You don't do that. We have a poison helpline. I'm going to repeat it again. It's 0861 555 777. And if you have any emergency ambulance you need to get hold of, it's 010-209-8911. Please keep those numbers ready and ready to go. So we've got 3 different ways. I'm almost done. 3 different ways of just managing different poisons. Remember, you get poison in the skin, poison in the eyes, and poison breathed in. So if it's on the skin, okay, like a chemical, chick, a type of thing that can burn like acid, remove the contaminated clothes immediately, because the skin will burn with the clothes. Rinse the skin with lukewarm water. Remember, this is the skin now. Rinse it with lukewarm, not hot water, because hot will re-energize that burn of the chemical again. If the area shows signs of a burn or irritated, continue rinsing for at least 15 minutes. The child will protest because it will be sore. Not ice cold water, not hot water, very, very tepid water. Then call the poison control for more instructions. Don't put on any ointments, no butter, no grease, nothing, no Vicks, nothing, because it will burn that skin and cause that child with severe, to have severe scarring of that skin. So what happens when it gets in the eyes? It happens often. So what we always say is flush the eye. So you keep your child to the side, let the water rinse, and you rinse it out. You take a cup of water and you rinse it out. They will protest, they will shout, so somebody must help you. Just hold your baba as soon as possible, okay? Again, lukewarm water, pouring steadily, not warm. And you throw it in the inner corner of the eye. If possible, and your child is very small, and you can even pop them in the shower, and you've got a very easy shower that somebody can go with you to hold. Under the shower, you can just let that water go, not hot water, please, because heat will actually make it go in the body faster. And with that, wrap your child tightly in a towel. For the poison on the skin and this, oftentimes it's difficult to manage the child, but especially keeping him under a tap for his eyes, it's very difficult because the eyes is burning, they're shouting. It's very, very stressful. So you take a towel, big one, nice big beach towel, and you wrap their little arms tightly. Remember, we're not wanting to hurt them, we want to help them. But doing that will just let you work quicker and more efficiently than all these arms around hitting you and smacking you and getting everywhere. And then again, do not put on any drops, any ointment, any oils, any eye cup, any first aid thing you have in your thing for eyes. You will phone the poison center once you've rinsed it off for 15 minutes. The trick is 15 minutes in everything. You phone them and they will tell you what is the next step. Then we have poison breathed in by gas and fumes. Again, get your child into fresh air straight away. If your child is breathing without a problem, you can call the poison hotline. If there is a unconsciousness, stop breathing or anything, immediately dispatch the ambulance, and from there onwards, they will start. It's also then important to start with CPR and start the basic CPRs at least to give the breath of life to get your child going. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was quite a mouthful for you guys to take in, but I think it is quite necessary to know what to do. Remember, with any poison, we don't want to let it go in the body quicker. So no vomiting. Remember that we have a poison number. They are the experts in poison control and what to do. But we're just minimizing the damage by rinsing out the eye, rinsing the skin, and making sure the child gets to fresh air when breathing in toxic fumes.